This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
2 days into the 2015 Atlantic hurricane season, and the National Emergency Management Agency is shoring up its protocols to ensure the Bahamas is ready to respond to any disaster, whether related or not. But as delegates from around the Family Islands and local authorities heard from their U.S. partners and Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie, the message of preparedness must be echoed repeatedly in order to ensure no one takes this serious issue for granted. Here's Clint Watson.
Disasters are coming. You can count on that. It's not a question of if, but when.
So says Jeffrey Smith of the Northern Command. He's just one of the American experts in town this week for the National Emergency Management Agency Knowledge Exchange Workshop on building disaster-resilient communities. In fact, Charge d'Affaires at the U.S. Embassy, Lisa Johnson, hopes workshops like this one will help local professionals address a critical issue that's commonly attached to populations like the Bahamas.
We must avoid complacency, which may threaten to creep in during the lull in tropical storm activity that we have seen in recent years in the Bahamas. Only proper disaster planning and continued vigilance will ensure successful mitigation, response, and recovery to a disaster.
Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie recognizes the challenges the Bahamas faces as a chain of islands, and the startling indicators are there. Prime Minister Christie has been heralding wherever he goes and has the opportunity to speak to climate change. The shocking statistic that should the sea level rise by 5 meters, 80% of the Bahamas would be no more. Mr. Christie says the Bahamas needs all of the help it can get.
Because unlike any of these other countries of which I speak in the region, there is this constant need to duplicate our efforts island by island. So superimposed over it all, that we need this national plan that will anticipate the challenges of our country and be able to plan for them.
The Prime Minister says a challenge for NEMA is keeping the nation prepared and aware of what they should be doing during the hurricane season amidst a population who has become relaxed because of witnessing consecutive seasons with no storms. But Mr. Christie's stress that preparedness must still be the watchword.
The extent to which we prepare for a disaster will be directly linked to the success we will have in addressing it when it occurs. And that even though we may go through season after season after season, when we have no real impactful disaster, when the time comes, if we continue to do the work we're doing now, we'll be ready for it.
And Prime Minister Christie is of the view that partnerships are key in securing the future of Bahamians, and he believes by putting this kind of foundation in place for generations to come, it'll be something in the long run that saves lives. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
The first person to be convicted of human trafficking in the Bahamas, Shavani Sasha Gay, scheduled to appear in the Court of Appeal Thursday. The 24-year-old Jamaican national was sentenced to 15 years behind bars for 4 counts of human trafficking and 7 years for 2 counts of unlawfully withholding the passports of 2 Jamaican women. Hall is expected to appeal her conviction and sentences while she appears in the Court of Appeal.
Also from the court today, a Supreme Court judge has sentenced a young man to 10 years behind bars on some 7 armed robbery-related charges which he pleaded guilty to. He was back on March 12, 2012, when 23-year-old Cameron Roll, along with others, robbed a Central Food store on East Street of cigarettes and cash. Prosecutor Attorney Abigail Farrington told the court that the defendant and another man pretended to cash out items when they robbed the establishment. That same month, prosecutors say Roll robbed a man of his jewelry, cell phone, and some cash. They also say he robbed cashiers at Tops Lumber Yard and Variety Disposal. Defense attorney Dorsey McPhee asked the court to be lenient with Roll as he had pleaded guilty to all charges. Meanwhile, his co-accused Arlington Turnquest was sentenced to 7 years.
With Labor Day only days away, a new union is making its presence felt. The General Workers Union is headed by veteran trade unionist Dr. Thomas Bastian, who led the Hotel Workers Union for many years. The GWU is under the umbrella of the Trade Union Congress President Obie Ferguson, explains who the group represents.
We were successful in getting the first general union in the Bahamas. That union is now called the General Workers Union. That union is capable of representing anybody Anybody, it's not a union of your craft, like BCPOU or the Bahamas Hotel Managerial Association or BEC Union or whatever. Anybody can join the General Workers Union.
Ferguson feels the union holds true to the memory of what Sir Randall Fox wanted to achieve. Ferguson said the Workers' Union currently represents the 200 Defense Force officers at the Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center, or ARTEC, based in Andros.
Because once around the unions, there was a general union. But in 1970, they changed it to craft union, because it was the unions that helped the government to get elected. The union is recognized, is registered, it's a recognized trade union if your performance is not where it should be. It gives people an option. Okay. See, you give them an option. Because if you're not functioning as the president of the union, people are going to leave you in any event.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm C.S. Scatterly. Preliminary evidence suggests that the economy maintained a relatively mild growth trajectory over the month of April, supported by healthy gains in tourism output and stable foreign investment-led construction activity. The fiscal outcome showed a widening in the overall deficit over the 8 months to February of the fiscal year 2014-2015, as higher spending negated growth in revenues. In the monetary sector, both liquidity and external reserve levels were buoyed by net foreign currency inflows from real sector activities. These findings were released yesterday in the Central Bank of the Bahamas' latest monthly economic and financial development report. In other business news, new gated community Destiny Lakes plans to propel home ownership for Bahamians and at the same time further develop one of Nassau's rapidly growing neighborhoods, Southwest Ridge. A full subscription for its 50 lots is now being anticipated at the grand opening on June 13th. Located on Munnings Road, just off of Gladstone Road, the launch event will include many industry partners, including banks, insurance companies, home decor companies, architect, and real estate companies. And in international news, the New York airport that U.S. Vice President Joe Biden once compared to the third world country is getting a major makeover that will be led by a Canadian company. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey recently announced that it has selected a consortium led by Vancouver-based Vantage Airport Group Limited to build a $3.6 billion terminal at LaGuardia Airport in Queens. Vantage is the company involved with the operations of the Linden Pinling International Airport. Vantage will team up with Sweden's Skanska AB and French's Meridium on the development and equity investment, and will also operate and maintain the terminal until 2050. This has been your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm C.S. Scatterly.
It's a celebration of some 32 years of collected art. The Central Bank of the Bahamas, known as one of the most popular homes for gallery exhibits over the years, is celebrating Bahamian cultures over the decades. The exhibit on display at the National Arts Gallery displays winners and works from various artists who participated in the bank's annual art exhibitions. Governor of the Central Bank, Wendy Craig, says the show is a part of the bank's 40th anniversary.
We've seen artists move through various stages of their development. Some of them are very successful today, and so we're quite pleased with how everything has turned out. Really, when you look at the art, it's so important in helping persons to develop their sensitivity, cultural diversity, just growing as a nation. You know, the central bank, as I indicated earlier, the central bank is known mainly for its monetary, financial, supervisory activities, but like central banks all around the world, we've taken an interest in supporting the arts because it's really it really helps in the development of a nation. And we see this as a valuable contribution to development and growth of the Bahamian public.
Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, applauded the central bank for being on the front lines of the arts and giving local artists a platform to display their works over the years. He, however, wants to take it to the next level and is particularly interested in a process that would lead to the arts becoming a significant component of the Bahamian economy.
The central bank is going to now take the array of paintings that they have and that we see on exhibition and actually turn them into an offering to the Bahamian public, meaning that they're going to be put into a volume of paintings that can be used as a gift item. The government would always be prepared, recognizing that it could in fact bring about some artistic geniuses that exist in our country, bring them into the forefront to be able to help. And so for me, I'm here to demonstrate our support with the minister responsible for culture. I'm here to be able to encourage the old timers to continue going on, but also to look at the new ones coming on and to be able to inspire them.
Bee farmers from Spanish Wells, Andros, Exuma, and New Providence were introduced to a new method of beekeeping today during a workshop hosted by the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. Local Representative Manuel Messina says the initiative aims at increasing honey production throughout the country. He indicated that the Bahamas will be able to export the product on the international market if production levels increase significantly. Meantime, senior consultant at the Bahamas Agricultural and Industrial Corporation, Garth Roseborough, is encouraging Bahamians to get involved in the lucrative business of honey production.